Thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Miller. Special guest today is Carlos Paez with the Communications Office. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, including on how AI is going to impact jobs in the future and job applications. So you created the Miami Job Search Support Group.
Correct.
From a concept point, tell us what that is.
So the Miami Job Search Support Group is a space where professionals come together to learn, to find strategies, to do networking, and to find support in a transition when you are out of a job or you want a new job, when you are transitioning. And it's a way where you come and there is a learning experience, so you get to learn what are the techniques that help you find that right opportunity in less time.
Yeah. We know that if you've been out of work for a couple months, it gets tough.
It does.
For a lot of reasons, including
Indeed.
the emotional stability of the out of work employee, if you will. That they, and we know that sometimes people get desperate and they're not sure what to do. They got all that stress. And then, of course, you have the ones that want to leave, which is probably a little bit easier because they're gainfully employed. Maybe they don't like it. So tell us about how you attract both those people, the one that's unemployed and the one that says, hey, I'm looking for something different.
Yeah. So as you said, the job search journey is, in some cases, devastating. It's very emotional, heavy. And what happened is, the reality is there are techniques, there are methodologies that are there that will help you navigate in a very easier or more efficient way. Whether you are out of a job already because you were let go or something happened that company let you go, or you are looking for that next opportunity, the methodology is almost more or less the same. The thing is, depending on how you do it and what the time that you invest on it, and if you follow, let's say, the 1, 2, 3 steps, the faster you're going to get. So what is important for you, depending on where you are at? Let's say you are out of a job. There are 4 things that I always look into it, and is a 4-pillar method that I kind of created. Is 1, the always ready stage, which is all the things that you are doing even before you are out of a job to prepare for that transition. So that's what is going to give you the stability and the time and the breathing opportunity for you to look at your situation and say, okay, where do I want to go and how am I going to navigate? So that's I would say what I will empower you to be able to be calm and say, okay, what strategies am I going to be applying?
So how are you going to keep somebody calm who says, I've been out of work for 3 weeks, I'm near the end of what I've got, my wife's barely working. So how do you keep them, calm enough to be able to put their best foot forward?
So the first thing I would say is count your blessings, right? So if you have an emergency fund, for instance, that will allow you to face your financial commitments, that's something that should give you calmness. If you already have your documents, meaning your CV, your communication plan in place, already there, you should also think, okay, this is going to give me calmness because I'm ready to go out and about.
So do you suggest to people ahead of time, before they're even thinking about another job, or before hey, have this stuff ready to go so you won't have to think about it in your real time of need?
Indeed. It is not just advisable, you must do. I'll tell you a story. On my first corporate position, which was the reason why I came back to Miami, my career coach on my first day at the job called me and asked me, Carlos, her name is Patricia, Carlos, how was your first day? And of course I was excited. I was, Pat, that was amazing. My first day was amazing. People are so nice. The company, I love it.
I hear it coming right now. It's coming down this pathway.
Yeah, so it's like I'm in the best moment of my life. And then she said, Carlos, that is great, but I have a question for you. What is the next company that you're going to be working on? What is the next position that you're going to apply?
So you just started,
first
you applied
day.
for the job, and you got it, and then at the end of the first day, your career coach is saying, okay, you need to start planning for the next place.
Exactly. And then she said, I don't want to cut your emotions, and I don't want to be a downer on you, but the reality is, that job is not going to be your last. So you start to prepare. You need to prepare for it. You need to prepare for your next opportunity. And then you say, because of your age, I think you're going to have at least 3-4 more jobs, most probably in 3-4 more different companies. And it's reality. That's exactly what is happening. So as I saw myself in searching for a new job, I remember her voice. And she said that, and then I was already ready to say, hey, how am I going to navigate this? And that's, interesting enough, one of the reasons I created the group.
So that creates a certain calmness for the new employee. Say, listen, if it doesn't work out here, because it might be in a month, might be in 6 months or a year, I've already got this stuff in place and are already sort of testing on how I'm going to move forward. I know with some really big companies, you think Facebook just let 8,000 people go. It's the other ones, places where you might be forever. But the reality of these big companies, especially where people have their masters and they go in and they're there for a year, 2 years, and then something happens. Either they move on or the company says, all right, the new group of MBAs are coming out. Yep. So you guys are gone except for 2 of you. We got the new ones. And we've seen it over and over and over again. And people still feel as though just because they have an advanced degree, that therefore it means job security. But tell us about why that's either true or not true.
I would say it will depend on where you are at, and I would say it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Mm-hmm. So I have an MBA, and then after that, I went on and I did a Master in Media Communications, which consolidated me as a strategic communications professional. I started my career, my first degree is on mechanical engineering, nothing to do with communications. But as I started my career, that's where my calling, I feel it was. So I went on and I said, I'm going to transition out of engineering, so I need something. So I went and did an MBA. And then I said, but I'm very good at communications. So then I went myself and got a Master in Media Communications. At one point...
So from engineering, which is... What would be your average day as an engineer? What would you do?
My average day? I was working in a factory for a ball bearing factory. And it was, since you walked in, you are working with hardcore machines, cutting metals, creating ball bearings, checking how those ball bearings are performing. So it is fascinating, but at the same time, it's very different from communications.
Was that more product-oriented than people-oriented?
It is indeed more product-oriented, yes.
So if somebody wants to be in a corner by themselves doing that stuff, that might be a good place. But otherwise, and you want to be with people, get into that arena.
Exactly, yeah. So that's how I transitioned into communications. And then what happened is, and your question was about whether having more advanced degree will help you. So the answer is, it could help you, yes. But there is a level or there is a moment in your career where your experience is equally important. So it will depend where you are, what company you are at, and also the experience that you bring in. So I would say if knowledge is always power, you never stop learning. And that's actually one of the pillars of the approach for the job search group, which is learning and adaptation. You have to learn new skills. You have to keep moving forward, but not necessarily on a high advanced degree.
So we've seen that in the healthcare industry and medical industry. Before they were just MDs. And then finally osteopaths got some recognition. And then they were registered nurse. And then they were nurse practitioners. Mm-hmm. And then now you're going to need to pretty soon have a PhD in nursing to be able to do that. And the same is happening with dental. They're going to be a doctor, and then there's dental person in between, and a hygienist.
Yeah.
Because if you're a hygienist for 15 years, they sort of got it figured out after seeing like 10,000 teeth. And so we see that is changing. And to your point, as far as people having experience where that really matters. And we see that, when people come aboard, they're right out of school, so the experience they have is in school and maybe some other stuff. Versus somebody that's been in the industry for 5 years, they get it, all right?
Yeah.
And so it takes a little bit of time to get that, not just the experience, but the confidence. So when people look at you and they're communicating with you, they can believe what you're trying to, promote to them. So again, let's talk about that person that comes to you. And how do you find them, by the way, that says, I'm out of work, and why should they talk to you? What is it you're going to do for them?
So it is not just me. It is a group of people that come together. And there is a learning component where you are going to be acquiring knowledge and strategies, tactics on how to do the job search, how to navigate the whole process. So from the emotional support to how to write to your resume or how to do the networking the most efficient way. So how you are going to contact us, we have a website, or you can email me. You are going to come to a meeting. We're going to send you an orientation guide where it's going to basically give you the guidelines on how you present yourself. So the meeting is going to be structured on that learning component. For example, today we met early in the morning, and the learning component was how you navigate recruiters and how do you maximize and optimize relationship with the recruiters. So those are things that sometimes people, you don't need to know. Well, you need to know them, but you don't know where to find that information. So you can find it with us. Then there will be a section where you are going to be able to present yourself to the team and explain who you are, what you do, and what you're looking for. And then the team will provide you feedback, connections, and support on how to navigate the next step.
Do you also provide support and advice, if you will, for somebody that comes in and they're not sitting properly or they're not standing properly, they don't know quite to do with their hands? You have that kind of conversation with people?
If it's necessary, yes. And also, one of the principles of the group is every feedback you provide have to come from a place of respect and positivity. Be very constructive. So if you come in and you might need that help, people will help you. We're not going to put you on the spot. By any means, the group will focus on the negative. It's always more on the positive things. But if you're open and willing to hear, yes, people will help you with that. Yes.
So anyway, people wind up, they know about you, the referrals are on your website. Do we happen to have can we find his web address and get it up there? All right, we're going to look for it and we'll get it up. So what caused you to move to this particular industry and at this time of your career? So,
something that I realized, I would say a couple of years ago, is what was the persistent and consistent thing in my life. And I was supporting people on how they communicate and how they articulate value, either for companies or for individuals and professionals. And as I was moving forward in my life, I started my career living in Malaysia, then I jumped to work in Singapore. I spent some time in Europe, and then I landed here in the US. And when I look back, that persistent thing was there. Like, I'm supporting people on how they articulate their value for them to unlock their full potential or align their best opportunities. And when that happened, I said, well, how can I use my communication expertise to do that? I myself was part of similar groups in Ohio and Kentucky, where I lived before coming to Miami. And those groups taught me a lot of the job search navigation process. And I didn't know that in Miami we do not have these type of groups. So I went into that job that my career coach told me, day one, plan your exit.
And
Day one, plan your exit. And then as we were going there, one of my very good friends or work friends was let go. And at that time, I said, hey, let's look for these type of groups because it's going to help, not just you, but whoever is part of it. And we couldn't find one. And then at that time, I was helping him with what I knew. And then it was a day that I myself needed the support group. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to create one. And then people that was in my industry, and I started to see that they were let go before me, at the same time as me, and then after me. And then I say, let's come together and do this.
When you started looking and you couldn't find what you were looking for, how long was it from the time that you started recognizing that there wasn't a group until you said, well, maybe there could be. Maybe I could do that.
So I would say that happened about 2 years ago when I started looking for that type of groups. Why? Because I did not listen to my career coach. You know,
Patricia must be like,
she knows
I told
that.
you.
She would know now. I didn't listen to her at that time because it took me some time before I started getting ready for it. And at that time, I started to identify where I could find that support. The truth is, once you learn the job search process, you always are kind of preparing for it. And then when I found myself in the position that I needed and I created it, it was sort of like something that unfolded naturally.
But if when somebody's out looking for work, and we'd spoken earlier about trying to narrow down perhaps what they want, but if you were an engineer, right, and you didn't know what to do, and you said, but I'm going to stay in the engineering field, right, because that's what I'm good at. How do you get somebody to open up and say, well, if you don't want that, then don't apply to that, but here's some other industries. So how do you go from this big macro world to this micro world in their neighborhood, if you will?
So the first thing that comes to mind as I hear you is, I also got this advice. Don't put on your resume something that you don't want to do anymore. It might be of your experience, but if you don't want to work as that, don't put it. Why? Because most probably someone will read it and someone will look for you for that thing that you put that you didn't want to do anymore. So it's the same thing. Like, I mean, to do the transition completely from being an engineer to something else, or if you're a doctor and then you want to become like a communication strategist, that would be a big jump. So there are transferable skills that you can leverage. But at the same time, I would say, think through exactly what is it that you want to do, and then you can plan for it.
A friend of ours got his master's at a local university. They're probably ranked 50th in the country. He wound up going back to number 5 in the country. He never mentions the first one at all. It's not even on his thing, because he does want people to go, oh, that one over there, instead of, wow, over here. I watched it, all right, to see how he did that. So, and then I say, well, why wouldn't you? He says, I don't want people to associate me with that.
Exactly.
So I hear you loud and clear there.
Yeah.
So when your folks get together, you have all ages, men, women, young people, older people.
Yes.
Whatever older is.
Yeah.
Carlos.
Well, I never asked the age, but I can tell you, like today, we had the head of an entire company in Mexico. He was there. So let's say he's a C-suite executive. We also have people that could be more junior. So there is no specific requirements, but having a good attitude, being open to learn, and being intentional about your job search.
So let's talk about all these changes that are occurring with introduction in the last couple of years of AI, which is certainly in the last 2 years been massive, right? The change, we've seen that. A couple of years ago when I started fooling around with it, I said I was probably at nursery school. Now I'm going, you're not even in kindergarten. And you realize, because you see all that stuff that's out there. So we see a lot of people pushing education in that arena. But let's talk about somebody who's looking for a job. At this point, let's say they're looking today, how important is their working conversations, not necessarily knowledge, but working conversations about AI? And are they going to need what skills might they need for a future employer?
So the first thing that comes to mind with AI and the job search process is you should not be afraid of it. As everything, it has two sides. One side that you may like, and a side that you may not. But the reality is, technology, regardless of what the technology of the moment is, it doesn't ask permission to come in and disrupt the industry. So this is what is happening, and we do need to learn what it is and how to use it and how it will impact our roles now and in the future. So I am, as I mentioned, a communication strategist. So for me, when I see AI, So I see it as a tool that it will help me first improve on my strategic skills. It will allow me also to develop content in a faster way. It will help me find information and sources in a faster way. So I could be afraid of it and try to not use it, but the reality is it's going to be there, and it does optimize my processes.
So you bring up a good point. You don't have to be an expert in any of that, but you got to be able to work it.
Exactly.
And you could paint your own house if you wanted to, but if somebody else can do it and do it better, all right? And they buy the paint at the same places we do. They buy the same stuff to go on the ground. And, you know, I just urge people to get comfortable enough to have the conversations and use it to get information faster and to verify that. And certainly it is here fully. And for people that are sort of afraid, I remember when Priscilla wouldn't know about this because she grew up on iPhones. But there was a point in my life where if you had a phone, that was a big deal. Right?
Yeah.
It was little phones like this. You'd have to text. You might remember you'd have to hit it 3 or 4 times.
Of course.
And it's like you look at it and go, I don't know how to do that. Well, you're going to learn enough to have a conversation.
Exactly.
So here you are. You have a room full of people that are looking, and I guess at this point, people sort of get friendly with each other and you have real conversations.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about off-site work. Are there a lot of companies that are still doing that? And if somebody was working off-site before for a couple of years, how do they get reintroduced to the marketplace and going to a job every day and driving across town? And how do they adapt to that?
I would say you don't have to adapt to it. I'm sure there will be always opportunities that are a good fit for you. But if you want that particular job, then you do have to adjust your life to be able to drive there, to be there, and go back to the office if that's the policy of the company. So I would say the more adaptable and the more you learn about how the industry is moving and where it is going, the more chances you have, not just to keep your current job, but also to find bigger and better opportunities.
Should people, generally speaking, if they're going to apply someplace and it starts getting narrowed down, should they try to find out some information about the companies other than just this cursory look?
Oh, definitely. And, you know, AI helps you a lot with that. AI is able to give you a content analysis of their newsroom, for instance. And there you can even know how is their reputation. AI can tell you in 2 paragraphs all the things you need to know so you can have a good conversation.
A gentleman came in about 6 months ago. He says, you know, I am looking for, I'm a videographer, and I see on your website you have such and such. I went, God, he paid attention. And he said, I was just reading this plaque you have outside on the wall. I said, you're hired. Okay, can you do this? It was like, you're hired. Can you do this? It was just like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, somebody that goes out of their way to those 2 basic conversations, just look at the website. Right?
Yeah.
And you're going to look at it and go, oh, this is pretty neat. I see some of the things that they do.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to be able to look at your website, what's your website address again?
So for the communications office is tcohq.com.
Okay.
And that's where we provide communication services on a fractional basis. And we help companies, especially mid-sized companies, to build their communication systems and capabilities.
Okay. And do you have another web address?
Yes. And on that one is a little long, but I'll let you put it on the screen if you have it.
Okay.
And if not, you can Google Miami Job Search Support Group, and that should appear.
Okay.
And over there is a contact form that you can put all your information, and then we will also be contacting you on how to get to the meetings.
Okay, that's terrific. So we got a couple minutes left, and I'm sure there's been some people that have helped you along your way.
Yes.
All right, and I'd like you to look at, which camera can you look at? This one over here?
Perfect.
Why don't you look right in the camera and talk to them, and if they've already passed you and still want to talk to them, that's your place.
That's my place. So people that I want to talk to, well, that's a long list of people I want to talk to, but then I would say my career coach, she has been, or one of them, she has been a tremendous person in my life who has helped me navigate multiple job search and also helped me grow, more importantly. And also to the participants of my Miami Job Search Support Group. One of the reasons I'm here today is because of you. And every single day that we have those meetings, there is something that drives me to go out and about and amplify the work that we do, hopefully, and we're going to continue finding methods and methodologies to minimize and make those job transitions shorter. So you can count on us.
Okay, wonderful. And we met a couple of weeks ago at a meet and greet that we had here.
Yes.
And how did you wind up coming here? Did you get something email?
So I got an invitation by the city of Miami, which I'm also working and trying to build my business around that and provide communication services to the community and the mid-sized companies here in the Miami area. And I came for the expo for the small business community. So that's how I came here after being on a job search meeting. And they told me something like, Carlos, we always get no's, but we are looking forward for the yeses. So, Carlos, today you go out and about and nail the day. And that's how I came here.
That's wonderful. And we do those frequently here at Community Newspapers. We also do breakfasts over at Casa Cuba here in South Miami. We have one coming up next week, which I'll let you know in a few minutes. And so I'm so delighted that you're here.
Thank
nice
you.
to have met you and continue helping these people.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Carlos,
Thank
thanks
you so
again.
much.
And appreciate folks. Thank you for joining us. Where am I looking? Which camera? Okay, right over there. Okay, and that's Priscilla over there. Folks, my brother and I, Grant, subscribe to the Disney rule, which is when you hug someone, don't stop until they do. Again, thanks for joining us. Have a great day.